Okay.
We're waiting on Matt to tell us he's ready.
Oh, I'm ready. Oh, you talking about the other Matt?
The other Matt, yes.
The technology Matt.
Yeah.
If he's technology, where y'all put me at?
I have to find one for you. I got to work on it.
All right, we're live.
Okay. Welcome to our regular meeting, Monday, June the 8th, 6 p.m. The June 8th, 2020 Quitman School District School Board meeting is being held via teleconference in accordance with Board Policy BCAD and Mississippi State Code 25-41-5. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the district YouTube channel. The agenda for the meeting was posted June 1st, 2020, 5 days in advance in accordance with the guidelines of this policy. The agenda stated the place, time, and purpose of the meeting. Dr. Holloway is present at the Quitman School District Central Office boardroom, and Mr. Compton is located in his law office in Mississippi for the purpose of this meeting. We will begin the meeting by establishing a quorum. Each board member who is present on the call, please state your name and place in the school district they represent. I'm Brenda McCormick, place 1.
Cheryl Waltman, place 2.
William Price, place 3.
Matt Skidmore, place 4.
Okay. At this time, and it's not on mine, I don't see a place for the prayer and the pledge, but Mr. Price, can you give us a prayer, please?
May we pray? Gracious Father, we thank you again for allowing us to be together just one more time to have another meeting for the school district. We pray, dear Lord, whatever we've done this evening may be done decent in order and in your eyesight, dear Lord. Father, continue to just bless each and every one of these board members, the superintendent, and everyone that takes to make up this meeting, dear Lord. Continue to just strengthen this school district, dear Lord. Continue to be with us through this crisis, Father. For all these things we ask in Jesus' name, and they all said.
Amen.
Can we do the pledge, please? Attention, salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we will adopt the agenda with a couple changes under the consent agenda. We will remove items 6, 7, and 10, and those will be brought back to our next meeting. So remove items 6, 7, and 10. And after those changes, if there are no others, we can, if somebody would adopt the agenda.
I make a motion we adopt the agenda with those changes.
And they're not static. Okay, there you go.
Here we
Motion.
go.
Okay. Oh, 1 second. Okay. I'm not sure we start static and just as soon as somebody gets ready to talk. Motion by Ms. Hoffman,
Second.
second by Mr. Skidmore, that we adopt the agenda after removing items 6, 7, and 10. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda. Item C, approval of minutes from May 11th, 2020 for a regular meeting and May 14th, 2020 for a special meeting.
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Price, second by Mr. Skidmore to approve the previous minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, item D, consent agenda. Item 1, approval of memorandum of understanding from the Mississippi Department of Ed for educator and residence literacy coach. And that's between us and Miss Sylvia James. Everybody had a chance to see that. Okay. Can I get a motion? Oh,
So we're doing the consent all as one, right?
Okay, if we're gonna do the consent, I make a motion, we accept the consent
I'm
agenda.
sorry. I thought we did. That's different.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
adopted the agenda.
yeah, we
Yeah,
already adopted the agenda. Now we need to do the consent agenda.
Okay,
Right.
with those changes. Okay, I'm
Yes, ma'am.
sorry. Okay, let's back up. Can we get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Mr. Skidmore, second by, who was it?
Mr. Price.
Mr. Price, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now we do D1, right? Okay. Approval of memorandum of understanding from,
No,
No,
we're down on financials now, Ms. McCormick.
We don't have a chance to discuss that one.
No, sir, the consent agenda, you taking one motion unless somebody wanted an item pulled from it for discussion.
Okay, there was two items that was not viewable, 515 and 520.
Okay, if,
what numbers now?
515 and 520.
okay, well,
It dealt with transfers.
we have already adopted those, Mr. Skidmore, and approved the consent agenda. So if I can make sure you get those, and if you got any questions, you can call me and ask me about them.
Okay,
And then if we need to bring it back, if you have questions, we'll have to go through Robert's Rules of Orders and rescind that motion and go through all that. But I can get you those today after this meeting.
okay.
You said 5 and 20?
515, 520.
Okay, number 5, number 15, and number 20?
No,
Is that-
ma'am. Well, 15 and 20.
Yeah.
515, 520.
Is he looking at?
He's on the agenda.
Oh, agendas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, well, Dr. Holloway, I'm not sure where you're at.
I got it.
You got it, okay, I'm sorry, okay. All right. Okay, we're down to item E, presentations, request to address the board. P16 monthly update.
Oh, I thought they were hard.
I'm sorry, what?
No, ma'am, we're following along with you.
Okay. The P16 council will not do an update due to the coronavirus. So we go down to F, bids. We have none at this time. G, orders, we have none at this time.
It's just a tickle.
Okay. H, financials. H1, approval of claims number 52761 to number 53030. Copy of claims docket. Claim 52761, that's the same one, okay. Can we get a motion to approve that?
I make a motion, we approve the claims docket.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Waldman, second by Mr. Price, that we approve claims number 52761 to 53030. All in favor? Any opposed? Not, okay, on this right here, if there's some questions or something, they do that before we vote, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. Item number H2, approval of financial statements ending April 30th, 2020. To A, bank statement certification and summary.
And Mr. McCormick, we've traditionally taken these A through H, and then when we open it for discussion, Ms. Johnson will explain and entertain any questions that board members have.
Okay. All right, 2A through H under financials. Can we get a motion to accept those? And then if there's discussion before we vote.
Make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Price,
Second.
second by Ms. Waltman. Now, Ms. Johnson, you gonna come now?
Yes, I can speak now.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so you have the April 2020 financials in front of you. If anybody has any specific questions, you can please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'd just like to point out on the trends chart how our fund balance has been going, and you will see sharp decrease in April, and that is because remember when you all approved the principal loan from 16 section principal fund, so it was moved over into 1120, and then we came back and asked that it be moved over into another fund for the expending of the funds. So when you see that sharp decrease, that's the reason why, because it was $1.8 million that came out. So it looks like, you know, we spent a lot of money, but it was just a transfer from Fund 1120 to Fund 3020, I think I put it in, so that when we get ready to do those projects, we can expend it out of that construction project fund. So just looking at where we are with the fund balance, it's at 4.7 million, which is very close to what we began the year with. And I expect that that's what we're going to end with, around the 4.7, 4.9 mark at the end of the year, provided we don't have anything major to pay out in the month of June. We're in the last month. So we'll be looking pretty good, about 32 to 36% still remaining in the bank and attributable to the fund balance. So if there's no questions about April's finances, I'd like to move into an update to where we are with the FY21 budget.
I'm assuming, and that might, because I'm sort of behind right here right now, because I'm on the agendas, and I'm taking it that we still on board book, huh?
Yeah, yes, sir. We start our agendas next month.
Okay, well, I'm a month ahead of y'all. Catch up.
I'm with you,
Oh,
Mr.
no,
Skidmore.
On O agendas, I have a 9-7, and I don't know where it's going to be at on the
What's the
board
title?
book.
What's
It's
the
going to be
title of it?
the insurance liability.
Yeah, we're not there.
No, we're not there yet.
Okay, and then 9-8 is the tax, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't get to those, because like I said, we're on different pages right now, so I'm struggling.
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, I did have to ask that question. I was thinking we were starting O agenda this month.
Yeah.
I texted Miss Clariton. So I thought we were too, but I'm sorry, but we'll all get on the same page, Mr. Skidmore. Just
That's fine.
don't let us pass something you got a
Okay.
question about, a discussion about. We're trying
Right,
to-
well, we'll get there, she said, so I'm satisfied with that answer.
Okay.
Okay, just a quick update of where we are with FY21 budgeting. We still don't have what our MAEP allocation is going to be, but for the sake of moving forward, I did budget a 20% cut from full funding, not from what we're receiving this year, but from our full funding number. So that about 20%, which equates to $953,000, a $953,000 decrease. Hopefully it's not that much. It's hard to budget the percentage decrease based on what we received this year, because when the legislature says that they're going to fund at equal levels, that doesn't mean equal levels for every district. They're just looking at the bottom number. So I believe what they've told the superintendents is about 5%, but it's 5% off of that bottom number. So I can't just take 5%, or I don't feel comfortable taking 5% from what we're getting this year, because there's so many moving parts within that formula. So I took what they did calculate for us, what full funding would be, and took 20% from there. So again, that's about a $953,000 cut. That's a lot of revenue loss. But until we get our final numbers, we are really kind of, still playing it safe, still being cautious about the expenditures that we're putting in the budget for next year, personnel included. You'll start to see the ad valorem advertisement after you all approve tonight being ran in the newspaper. So those numbers includes that decrease in MAE funding. Overall, the comparison is about $3.6 million drop compared to what the revenue is on the books today. But we have to keep in mind that that does include all of the federal money because we don't calculate those, the carry forward numbers until we get over into the new year. So most of that is going to be for federal funds, but it also includes that $953,000 decrease. With ad valorem, where we are today, we've received about 93% of what we requested in operations. If we receive what we received last year, June of 2019, we'll probably end about 95%, but I can tell you that the spring months, we haven't received what we received the previous year in those months. So I'm expecting the same for June. So we'll probably be about 92 to 95% collected in the operations portion of ad valorem. So once I compute those figures, I'll bring back to you in June 29th, this is June, but June 29th. And then at that point, you can make a determination if you want to issue a shortfall note. Okay. A few more things I wanted to point out. Our payroll budget right now for FY21 is about 14.4 million compared to a $14.3 million budget. So we did, even before COVID-19 hit, we did plan to cut a few positions at the high school. So we can see where those savings are in that $153,000 decrease. But our new year numbers actually includes a 5% increase in health insurance that is scheduled to be effective in January 2021. So we're looking pretty good on our projected payroll figures right now compared to the current year. The budget hearing is scheduled for the 29th at 6, and we still plan to do it via Zoom and live stream via YouTube, just like we're doing tonight's meeting and the previous meetings. And we'll answer a few questions that the public can post via YouTube, and then ask if they want to ask additional questions up to 3 days after the public hearing. They can email those to me, but we're going to publish all FAQs on the website just to make sure everyone has a good feeling that their concerns and questions were answered, since we're operating in this different space. So just wanted to update you on that. Any questions for me?
I have a couple, Ms. Johnson.
Okay.
Advertising for the ad valorem, thing.
That's another, I'll be more than happy to answer your question, but that's another, you may want to discuss it when we get to that item.
Okay, well, you estimating that at 953,000
decrease in MAEP revenue.
Yeah, but when you made reference to something after that about advertising for ad valorem, that would be factored in. Is that, or would that be? I'm asking, would that be?
That $953,000 decrease is just state funding.
So it has nothing to do with what we're going to request for our ad valorem.
No, there's a different formula for ad valorem.
Okay. Now, our budget meeting on June 29th, and I know normally the public would have a chance to ask questions at the meeting, but
Right.
You're saying they can ask questions afterwards? Is there a way they can ask their questions before or put them in before?
Usually the questions are centered around the presentation, so I'm not sure what would be asked prior to, but they'll be able to ask during the presentation via YouTube.
Okay, so
Not verbally, but they'll be able to type it in. And between myself, Matt, and Shay, we're gonna work out the logistics of that. Maybe Shay will, we just kind of been thinking about how we'll present the questions, but they'll be able to type it in the chat, and perhaps like Shay would read the questions and then I can answer it while still live. That's the way we're planning on doing it.
Okay, so our budget meeting, we won't actually vote on the budget. It's just our.
Not on the 29th. No, we'll bring it back in July.
Okay, so the people will
So
have. Okay, that's want to make sure they had a chance to voice the thing before we actually voted.
And Ms. McCormick, what we'll do is we'll type all that out and put it everywhere that we can on the website, Facebook, all the places that we know to put it, to try and get people to, so they'll know the questions that have been asked and their concerns will have been addressed.
Okay, so I'll make sure. Okay, that was all I had, Ms. Johnson.
Okay, anything else?
All right, I think we need a vote now, Ms. McCormick, on 2A through H.
Okay, can I get a motion?
No, we already had the motion. The second.
Oh,
We
we need to vote. I'm sorry. All in favor? I'm sorry. All in favor? Any opposed? Mr. Jefferson, you there? I see your name. You have to let him in, Dr. Holloway?
No, ma'am, he's in.
Okay.
Yeah, and is he muted? He's not muted.
I just don't hear him or see him. I see his name.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. He's in and he's not muted, so he can hear us, but there he is. All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're down to now item H. It's making a weird noise. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. We can hear you. I think that's Dr. Jefferson giving some feedback on.
Not to come here and start trouble. Okay. Okay. Item 3, H3 is approval of budget amendment for April 1st through the 30th, 2020. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Dr. Jefferson, second by Mr. Price. There any discussion? Okay. Remember to get ahead of my voting. Okay. If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Item H4, approval of resolution authorizing setting up of new accounts effective June 9th, 2020.
I make the motion.
Okay, who is that? Mr. Matt?
That's it.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Skidmore,
Second.
second by Ms. Waldman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 5, is it 5? Yeah. H5, approval of transfer 16 section principal funds. She discussed it a little bit earlier, so that's what this is. May I have a motion for that approval?
I make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Skidmore,
Second.
second by Ms. Waldman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item H6, recommendation to return performance bond to the Woodlands Investment Group LLC. And that's timber sale closeout. And those were listed. Can I have a motion for approval?
I make a motion to return that.
Motion by Ms. Waldman. I need a second.
I second.
Second by Mr. Skidmore. All in favor of approval of this transfer, timber sale closeout. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, item H7, approval of FY21 property and casualty renewal recommendation. And that's for the liability insurance. Can I get a motion for that approval?
Make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Price,
Second.
second by Mr. Skidmore.
I'd like to
Before
discuss.
before we take a vote on that, if my recollection and from my review, is that the bid recommendation, Ms. Johnson, from the
Yeah,
School Board Association?
We were about to explain that to
Oh,
a
is that,
couple of members.
no, we're
Yeah,
supposed
this is
to,
what we talked about, Ms. McCool. We were going to explain that. I was going to let Ms. Johnson explain the financial side, and then I was going to explain some services side of it.
oh, okay. Yes, that's our liability. There were 3 bids,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
So it's 3 bids, right? All 3 bids came in lower than what our current liability and casualty insurance costs were. We recommended the school board because of the services that they provide as opposed to the other two companies. The School Board Association, as you know, we participate in the workers' comp pool. So in years to come, as long as we stay with the liability pool, we would start seeing some returns. Of course, it's going to have some factors like our lost claims would factor into it, but we'll start seeing those dollars be returned as well, just like we do on the workers' comp side. So that the Mississippi School Board Association is the higher of the three, but again, it's almost $20,000 less than what we spent this year. And Dr. Holloway wants to.
And I have worked with them before. I've worked with travelers as well, both of them, but the services that I received from the Mississippi School Board Association were really good. They were, whatever we called and asked for, they were good. We had a local person which stayed in contact with us, unlike now. I still don't know who our last provider was, but they do just a better job of communicating with you. And if you've got issues, they work with you. And as that pool grows, the premiums will go down as well. I think they started this 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and they're up to almost 50 districts. So as the districts grow, the cost will come down a little bit. So that is why we recommended them, even though they are the higher of the three.
And so, Ms. Johnson and Dr. Holloway, for purposes of our minutes, you're recommending to the board that they take the School Board Association bid, although it's the highest, because in your opinion, that's the best bid?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And if we let those minutes reflect that, then.
What is the
Yeah.
difference in the service?
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Ms. Waltman.
What is the difference in the services that,
Okay, for instance, there's an adjuster in, I forget where he is, but anyway, he'll find and identify somebody that's in this area that will work with us in the case of a claim or anything like that. I don't know about Travelers or Liberty Mutual. Travelers was good, but I never had a claim through Travelers. I don't know about Liberty Mutual, but if there was we've had some difficulty in language with them, and they went ahead and covered it. So I just knowing what I've received, like I said, the local consistent contact and communication with them was good for me. So versus some of those big companies who don't have as many personnel to take care of you individually, like Mississippi School Board Association does.
One thing I can add to that is when speaking with Ms. Anissa with School Board Association, they do a physical appraisal every 3 to 4 years. And that's something that you have to get on a list and request with the bigger companies, or you end up having to pay for it. So with their service, that comes with it, and they put you on a 3 to 4. When you first come into the pool, they do it initially, and then they put you in a 3 to 4 year rotation. And so that way we know that our property values are updated every 3 to 4 years.
Safety assessments and risk assessments, they do those as well to help reduce claims. Yeah, that's for free. That's just part of the service.
and that's not part of Travelers and Liberty Mutual?
I know that wasn't pointed out, and I've asked for things like that, for this year to see what extra services are provided, and I've gotten nowhere.
Also in the past, we've had insurance companies to move in and out of the markets so that they may offer you coverage one year and decide that they will not offer coverage the following. And the School Board Association has consistently been there.
Stable.
Yeah, and I've seen them after, like, I can't remember which district it was, may have been Smith County or Smithville, but after that tornado came through, I think they jacked up the,
you brought up another point, because they did do that with us.
yes, thank you.
Travelers, with all the tornadoes that we've had this year.
Yes.
I think, excuse me, while
And Ms. Waltman, I can't remember which insurance company it was, but after the storm, they jacked up the
Deductible.
the
It went up to
deductible, yes.
50,000 for this year.
Yeah, yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
if we renewed with Travelers, it would have gone up to 50,000 as opposed to 10.
Now me, I don't have a problem with the School Board Association or any of the insurance company, but my question is this: when we ask for a bid, do they not all get that we want this, and this? The exact same things as what,
So it'd
So
be
I'm
like apples to
saying-
apples.
Right.
No, we don't dictate, our agent works with them to make sure that the bids are compared apple to apple. But if they say, you know, in the case of the wind and hail damage, they're not gonna budge on the deductible. They want, one company wants the deductible to be 50,000. And another one quoted us on the 10, the other two quoted us on a 10,000 deductible. So yes, he tries to get the apples to apples, but it just, whatever their valuation method is, you know, that's, we come back with what we get.
Okay, here, I got some questions here. I've looked into the, to the insurance companies, which, me personally, my business is insured through Travelers. And, secondly, I don't think that we even need to look at Travelers in this situation for going up on the deductible for $50,000. So I would vote to waive Travelers out of the equation completely. What I've seen in the looking at Liberty Mutual, they've been here longer than I've been here. In my opinion, they're a proven company. And if it's apples to apples and they beating a company that's less than 6 years old by $20,000, I find it hard to spend an extra $20,000 on a newer, younger company than spending $20,000 less on a company that's been in business for a number of years. And they do have both the same deductibles. I think you said both of them had $10,000 deductibles.
Yeah, I do, yes, I'm almost positive about that. I don't have the detail with me, but yeah.
Well, and, you know, one comment on the ability to contact people with the insurance company. I think that's the agent's responsibility, that you deal with the agent. You don't have to deal with anyone else. You know, your insurance is only as good as your agent. And I think Mr. Davis would, you know, should take care of dealing with anybody with the company. And if there's a problem with getting in contact with, you know, whichever company, then, you know, he should have to worry about that. But the deductible, you know, if we've got a deductible that's set in now, you know, unless it's changed because we have a tornado, then, you know, that's really not a factor now. They didn't change our deductible because of what happened in other counties. I like Travelers. You know, we put, I think, our workers' comp with the School Board Association, and now this, and it's just, I don't know. I think we could stick with a reputable company that's been around, as Mr. Skidmore said. And when we talked earlier about some bid, there had to be a reason to take the higher bid. And I'm just not sure we have a good one.
Any other discussion, questions, or? Okay. If not, we are ready to, let me find myself. Number 7, H7.
Because we need to put something in place.
Hold on, oh yeah, you getting ready to take a vote, Ms. McCormick?
Are we going to clarify how we voting on this?
Yeah, we've had the motion and second, we've discussed it. Now it's time for a vote.
Now, the vote would be for the recommendation of the School Board Association.
Yes,
So
ma'am, for our recommendation, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, we've had a motion, or did we have a motion?
Yeah, we had a motion and a second, and then we discussed it, yeah.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the recommendation for the liability insurance to be covered through the Mississippi School Board Association? All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Or opposed?
Okay, who's opposed? Ms. Wildman?
I opposed.
Yes, Skidmore? I didn't hear Mr. Jefferson and Mr. William. Did y'all vote either way? I didn't hear you if you did.
Didn't,
You just didn't vote?
I just didn't vote.
Okay, Mr. Jefferson?
I did.
Sir?
Okay, I'm back with you.
Okay. Did you understand what we're voting on? The liability insurance?
Okay,
Ms. McCormick, it's getting late in the game, so if we're not gonna do the school board association, we need to do somebody, and it sounds like we're gonna be split on this, I don't know. We need to make a motion on one of these. I've made my recommendation, you didn't vote it, but we need a recommendation from you all on somebody. I'll just put it like that. So we'll need somebody to make a motion that we accept. Doesn't matter to me who, but one of the two we need to accept.
Okay,
All right, I want to ask one question real quick.
Okay.
Both of these, Liberty Mutual as well as Travelers, give us two quotes on the same insurance, basically, according to the agents or whoever we got these bids through. One was for $249,739, the other was $266,796. But to my knowledge, from what I've heard tonight, Travelers is a $50,000 deductible. Liberty Mutual is a $10,000 deductible for the physical year 2020, 2021. Is that correct?
Or was that what you said, that they raised somebody's from 10 to 50 because of a tornado?
That's right. No, they raised ours is what she said. In other words, the proposal for Travelers is going to be $50,000 deductible according to what I've heard tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
All right,
I make a motion that we take the bid, the lowest bid by Liberty Mutual with a $10,000 deductible.
all right. So just let me get this clarified. They raised everybody's deductible.
We can't speak for everybody. The only thing we
Well, I
can say
know,
is
but
that they raised ours.
But I believe that if Mr. Davis got these quotes, he could have asked.
But Ms. Walton, hold on one second. We jumping because we haven't had a second on that motion yet.
Oh,
So,
I thought we were still on the discussion. Or we skipped over that?
Well, we voted.
we voted not to, but we have a motion on the floor, is what I'm saying. Mr. Skidmore has made a motion on the floor, and I think Ms. McCormick recognized it. I'm not sure if she did or did not.
I didn't. I'm trying to get it all together.
We're gonna work it out.
Okay. So
I think you need to entertain his motion. If there's not a second, then we can open it back up for discussion.
Okay, Mr. Skidmore, your motion is to go with Liberty Mutual, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Based on what I've heard tonight,
Okay.
Liberty Mutual is the lowest and best bid according to what I've heard tonight because of the deductible being $10,000. Travelers deductible, according to what I've heard tonight, for the year 2020, 2021 is going to be $50,000 deductible.
Windstorm, hail, flood, earthquake. What are
Not for
the deductible?
For wind and hail.
For wind and hail, it's 50,000, not
Yes.
for every claim.
Not for everything, for wind and hail.
There's any other covered loss, 10,000. Business income, 10,000. It's the windstorm, hail, flood, earthquake, And do we even have to get earthquake insurance?
The detail that I have with me tonight only speaks to the wind and hail. I do believe that the other deductibles would be 10.
Right,
But the increase to 50 is for wind and hail.
wind and hail
Right.
and earthquake.
Okay,
Flood.
based on that, because I thought the deductible was across the board at 50,000.
Not across the board. Wind and
Okay, well, then I'll retract that motion and make the motion. We stay with the company that we've been with.
All right, hold on.
Now,
We have
Ms. Kimora,
Okay,
I think we were with Travelers, right?
we're with Travelers now, but from what I understood to begin with, what she said was that the deductible was going to be $50,000. She didn't break it down to wind and hail. She just said the deductible was going to be $50,000. I made my motion on the understanding that it was a $50,000 deductible across the board. But it's not according to what I just heard. I'm hearing conflicting stories right now.
I'm just reading off this information we were given.
Okay, let's decide which.
And I apologize again because I'm on that, I'm not on board book right now.
So Ms. McCormick, what we need to do is, there was a motion on the floor. If there's no second, then the motion dies. You open the floor back up for another motion.
Okay, the motion on the floor was for Liberty.
Liberty Mutual, yes, ma'am.
So, all in favor?
No, we haven't got a second yet. We need to open up, nobody second.
Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Skidmore made the motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion by Mr. Skidmore.
Does anybody, we need a second. No, if nobody second, then it dies. Then we open it back up for motions.
Right, anybody going second? Okay, if not, okay. Now we'll open it back up. The other choice.
Motion dies for lack of second.
Okay, so now the motion, we need another motion either for
Yes, ma'am.
School Board Association or Travel.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you're wiggling. Who is that talking, Mr.?
Dr. Jefferson.
Oh, Dr. Jefferson, what'd you say? I can't hear him.
Yeah, I think it's something with his, I think it's something with his internet.
You want to text it?
Yeah, let me see if he can text real quick.
Because I can't hear anything, but I don't, it's so. I can't.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Okay, well, are we waiting on a motion?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion. We stay with Travelers Insurance Company for the 2020, 2021 school physical year.
And I'll second it.
Okay,
Hey, what was your question, Dr. Jefferson?
hold on just a second.
Okay. Dr. Jefferson was making a motion for the recommendation again,
Or which one?
for what we recommended.
He was making a recommendation for School Board Association?
Yes, ma'am. So now if there's no second there, then
You
the
hear me
motion dies.
now?
I can't understand a thing he's saying, but I got what you said. Okay, so was his motion first?
Yes, ma'am, before Mr. Waltman, before Mr. Skidmore did his.
Okay, now, board members, Mr. Jefferson made a motion for the School Board Association to carry out liability insurance. Motion by Mr. Jefferson. Okay, no more. I can't hear you. You're
Oh,
out.
I got him on the speakerphone, Ms. McCormick.
Oh, okay. Was there any motion, second to Mr. Jefferson's? The motion, drops, it is because of no.
No second, lack of second, yes, ma'am.
Back a second, okay. Okay, now, Mr. Skidmore, you're
I'll make
still,
a motion, we stay with Travelers Insurance Company based on what we've heard tonight for the 2020-2021 school physical year.
I
okay?
second the motion.
It's
Motion-
3,000.
Motion by Mr. Skidmore, second by Ms. Waltman. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
Dr. Jefferson said aye.
Okay, motion carries. The motion carries, and we're on to our next one. Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. Okay, now we're on to item H8, authorization to publish notice of public hearing on budget and proposed tax effort. Can we get a motion for to have that published?
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Waltman,
Second.
second by Mr. Price. All in favor?
Hold on, I'd like to
Oh,
discuss.
I'm sorry, discussion. Okay,
Okay, and here again, I'm on a different,
okay,
I'm
I'm sorry.
hoping y'all got-
I'll try to wait for you. I apologize.
are we asking for 7% more in ad valorem tax next year than this year?
No, I only put a 4% increase, which is allowed. And, and we still, when we do the resolution or when I bring the resolution back to you all in August, we, depending on where we are, we may not need the whole 4%. But I have to put, or it's recommended that I put the higher number in the newspaper, because if we ever come back and when we recalculate everything after June 30th, if the number comes to be higher than what I published, then we can't ask for that number. That it's like the number that's in the newspaper is the cap. It's almost like you give the worst case scenario. So no, I didn't request a 7, I only requested a 4% increase.
Okay, well, the way that that's worded and what's going to go into the school, into the paper, according to what I'm seeing on the second paragraph of that, says Quitman School District is now operating with a project total budget revenue of 23 million, some odd change, of the amount 26%.
Right.
And then it down, and then at the fourth sentence in that says, asking for the amount of 33% of 6 million. So it looks like it's to the average. I'm not talking to a financial, from a financial standpoint, to the average person that's going to get the newspaper. They're going to see and they're going to say that's going to be a 7% increase.
I understand, but
So-
this language is statutory.
Yeah, you can't change that. That's state law. You can't, there's certain language that has to be in there.
Well, like I said, I mean, I understand that, but when the average person opens up the paper and they see that ad, they're gonna see a 7% difference in there.
Right.
We hope they will tune in to the budget hearing and ask that specific question. And I hope we will encourage them to tune in to it and ask that specific question.
Right.
Yes, because I don't want to get asked it after that. I mean, I'm just,
I got a feeling you probably are, but yeah, we will do our best job to communicate it once the questions come in, that it's not a 7% increase. That's why, Mr. Skidmore, we want to publish it and put the Q&A out there. And I don't know if there's a way to put it in the paper, but every way we communicate it, Ms. Goff is here. She's going to communicate it every way we can.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Okay.
We need to vote.
Did Mr. Jefferson have something? I couldn't. He didn't. Okay.
No, ma'am. Dr. Jeff, no, he's listening. He didn't have anything.
Okay. We're ready to vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
He
opposed?
said aye.
Okay, motion carries to publish the notice of the public hearing. Item I, personnel, approval of elections / resignations of certified and or classified staff. Everybody saw that there was one thing added. I guess everybody had a chance to look at that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, can I get a motion to accept the personnel recommendation?
I make a motion, we approve the recommendation to accept that resignation.
Well, I think it's all in one.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not just one thing. That was just additional thing added, but it'll cover everything in that, in the
Oh, I
personnel.
thought that was the only one. Okay.
No.
Okay, they added that one. Okay, so I make a motion. We approve the elections, resignations of certified and or classified staff. Did I get it?
Motion by Ms. Waltman, second by Mr. Price.
Can I make a comment on this?
Yes.
I,
Remember the personnel.
right. I got personnel written on my thing here.
Okay.
When I was going over that, one of the things, and being a former bus driver, I think we had some things. I don't think we had an accident in the district this year. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, so, you know, let's not forget these bus drivers. They see these kids first and they see these kids last. And I'm proud to be a former bus driver. I wished I could be a bus driver in the upcoming year, but the legislature won't allow that. I'm almost tearing up. Okay, but anyway,
The school board, I mean, the
it's-
bus drivers
what-
were there. Some of them got bonus something. They got something.
they got
no
bonus.
accident. So I
Okay.
want to say thank you to our bus drivers tonight. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Skidmore. Okay, we're ready to vote now. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We accepting the recommendations for the staff. We're down to old business. We have none at this time. K, new business, K1, approval of addendum to board policy GBRIA, Family and Medical Leave Act. And that's related to the COVID virus response act, employee paid leave. Get a motion to accept that.
I
I make a motion.
I have a motion by Ms. Skidmore,
I'll take the motion. Yes.
Second.
second by Ms. Waltman. And the only thing I have, I'm sure this is kind of some state stuff for every school, right? Because of the COVID virus.
Yeah, this nationwide, that's federal.
Federal.
That's federal law. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, normally we would have a first reading, but because of the federal law, we have to go ahead and act.
Yeah, that's federal law. That's across the nation.
Can't override them, okay.
No, ma'am.
Not that we would. Okay. L2, review of section F.
We
got to vote.
Yeah, we
Oh,
gotta
I'm
get a vote
sorry.
on that.
Okay, all in favor of item 1, not 1,
K1.
A1.
anytime, K1, approval of the addendum for the Family First Coronavirus Response Act. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, K2, approval of hunting and fishing lease recommendation. Give notice of lease terminations to Chancery Clerk Office.
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Waltman,
Second.
second by Mr. Price. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. To give notice of the termination, lease termination to the Chancery Clerk. Item K3, recommendation to advertise for hunting and fishing bids on 16 section lands. Those are some leases.
I make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Skidmore,
Second.
second by Ms. Waltman. Any discussion?
Does that notice set a specific date of when those bids will be open? Because they have to be opened before the school board.
Yes, sir. They'll be opening at the July meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question in this matter. In a prior board meeting, there was some properties that were not being leased for anything. Are we maximizing all of these properties at this present time in these advertisements?
These are hunting and fishing, which they come up every 5 years. So we haven't had time to go in and look to see what lands out there are not being leased at this time. With this was kind of the priority for it right now. But that's
So Mike Ainsworth, I worked with him in Starkville. I was 16th section manager there. That's one of the things he will do. Mr. Skidmore, that's a good question. I had planned for us to all go out and see them all and do all that until the corona hit, but I'm still gonna talk to him about any properties that he think we can open up for any other types of leases to make sure we're maximizing our 16th section land.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? Okay, if not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item K4, approval of fiscal year 2021 consolidated federal programs application review for 2020-2021. Can I get a motion to accept that?
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Waldman,
Dr. Jefferson said second.
second by Dr. Jefferson. He's in, okay.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, down now to item 5, first reading, and so we need to act on those. We'll read, these are the handbooks.
That's right. And Ms. McCormick, if you all have any issues, if you would just email that to Ms. Clara, Dr. Dace handles that, and she'll get with the administrators and review of whatever your recommendations are.
There was just, I thought something missing on the bail schedules for the high school.
Okay.
That's good what they sent me.
Okay, if you'll send that, Ms. Waltman, that way, Doc, they can look over it. Because I read it, I didn't pay that close, which I should have. I missed that on the bail schedule.
Well, it was just on the high school.
Okay,
I had all theirs.
okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, is that you, Dr. Jefferson?
Dr. Holloway,
Yes, sir.
would it be possible for the board to review, and I don't know if this is possible, the referrals from the high school, not the person's name, but how many referrals, bus referrals, how many dress referrals, how many
Yeah,
car
yes,
referrals?
yes, yes, sir, yeah.
Could we review those as well from the, keep them separate, each building separate, and then as well from the bus barn to maybe address different issues in a different way when we look at these?
Absolutely. I can email that to you all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I was gonna say we were out of our lane on that, Mr. Skidmore, but okay.
Yeah, I thought we had a second. I'm sorry. I thought we had a
Not out of
second
our lane,
already.
we weren't discussing it. I take that back. Not that we
Yeah.
weren't discussing that part.
That's right there. This is a first reading. So yeah, we're good right here.
Okay. Okay, so now we're down.
Mr. McCormick, can I get some clarification, because we've got lots of codes and that report can read, it can be very, very long. Can I do this? Can I give you our top 5 and then buses? Would that be enough for you all?
That would be fine,
Oh,
sir.
you're talking about that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to make sure we give you the right report.
Okay,
And-
okay.
Okay, all right, I got it.
Okay, now we're down to K6, approval to cancel the contract from Cone Elevator. Can I get a motion? And then if there's any discussion or questions, we'll.
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Skidmore, second by Ms. Waltman. Now, this is, Dr. Holloway, you want to?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Joseph has been monitoring the activity. This was enacted, and I think it was in 2015, I think it was. Mr. Compton, Ms. Johnson, I think, is it 2015?
Must be because it was
It was
Yeah.
a 5-year contract set to expire June 30th of this year, initially signed by Dr. Hawley.
So the issues we've been having is they are not coming to do the services that are listed in the contract. And Joseph has been monitoring this for the last couple of years, I know, pretty carefully. And we're just not satisfied with the service that we've been getting from them. And, you know, Joseph keeps him up to date pretty regular. So that's why we're wanting to cancel the contract. And I had Mr. Compton read through it to make sure we're doing it the correct way.
And let me explain that procedure for you just a little bit. The contract was for 5 years, and like I mentioned earlier, it's set to expire June 30th of this year. That's the initial 5-year term, but it has a provision for an automatic renewal unless either one of the parties issues a notice that they desire to cancel the contract. If that notice is given, it has to be given not more than 120 days before the end of the term and not less than 90 days before the end of the term. So we've missed that deadline as far as the contract notice provisions are concerned. But here's the caveat. A school board or a governmental board cannot bind its subsequent elected officials. So in this case, all 5 board members would have gone through regular terms during the period of this contract. So this contract is now either void or voidable. It's not void, but if you elect to, then you can elect to determine it voidable because the prior board could not bind future boards beyond that 5-year period. And so it's my recommendation that y'all determine that this contract is voidable and that it is your desire to void and terminate the contract.
I have a question. If they weren't performing the services, why did we continue the contract? Could we not have?
Yeah, you can't just get out of that type of contract.
Well, I would think they're getting out of their contract if they don't do the work.
I agree, but I've had to go through this to get out of a similar contract with another elevator company before, and you know, you just have to wait till the end of it. You can fight it to get out of it, but the cost is best to just let it run out and end it at the end of that.
That sounds like a pretty good business to be in.
It is, Ms. Waltman.
Do any work and get paid.
It is, Ms. Waltman, I promise you.
Okay, but we're fixing to get out. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we, yeah, I'm sorry, any more discussion? I apologize. If not, oh, I do have a question though. Dr. Holloway, so will we get someone else to take care of this?
Yes, ma'am. Joseph has been looking for somebody, so he's identified somebody to give us another contract. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. All in favor of canceling this contract with the, what you say, Mr. Compton?
Void.
That the board declare that the contract be voidable.
Be voidable, apples to, you know.
But you made reference that all 5 board members, do we need to be polled?
No, sir. It's the fact that the board that voted on this 5 years ago is not the same board that exists now. And more than 5 years have now expired. And so it's been a complete rotation and they cannot bind this existing board right now unless y'all want them to. And so by declaring it voidable for that reason, that's my recommendation.
You'll have to take care of that for us.
Ma'am,
You have to take care of this situation for us with.
I will send them a letter based on the vote tonight that y'all declare the contract voidable.
I vote yes.
All in favor? Wait, Mr. Skidmore. All in favor? All in favor? Okay, Ms. Skidmore. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We're going to cancel the contract with Cone. Okay, item L1, discussions. These are things we will, discussion and revision of section E, business management. If there's no discussion, we'll we'll get back to this our next meeting. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If you let me know, we'll pull whatever and put it on the agenda.
Okay. Item L2, review of section L, same thing. We just need to review that. We have questions that Dr. Howard knows.
I believe Dr. Jefferson's trying to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's just back on. He's back. I lost him on the phone. He's back on.
Okay, well, I keep seeing a phone with his name on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on my phone now. My internet kept messing
All
up
right.
here.
Oh, anyway, any kind of way you get will work. We'll take a smoke signal next, but okay. Item L3, superintendent's report. Dr. Holloway?
Yes, ma'am. I want to commend Dr. Savage and his staff, his graduation committee. We completed the 5-day graduation and they did a pretty good job considering the pandemic and everything that's going on. So that is done. We got a call about a week and a half ago about money for Pat Harrison for the walking track. I gave that gentleman's information to Joseph, who called him but didn't get him, but the guy eventually called him back. So Joseph is working with him. It was $1,000 the Pat Harrison Waterway is giving us to make improvements out there. And Joseph is going to work with the gentleman on getting that money and buying supplies. I've talked to Mr. Compton. He's working on a understanding or a interagency agreement to purchase the light with the city. So we'll have it by the time next school year rolls around. The CARES funded, I think I sent you how much money we're getting. It's a little bit over $680,000. We have to watch a webinar Wednesday to figure out the details about that.
Dr. Holloway?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know, it's just me. I hear a lot of this noise. Can anybody?
Yeah, it's Dr. Jefferson. Dr. Jefferson, can you put your phone on mute while we're,
I can hardly hear you.
okay.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm sorry. There
On
you
the
go.
CARES, can I ask a question or?
Yes, ma'am.
And understanding that the CARES funds are not something that should be factored into our budget. I think that as we talk about this, the public needs to understand this is not, ad valorem tax. This is not any kind of tax that has come in that will affect our budget, and that there are stipulations as to what can be done with this money. This is not just, a pile of money that we've gotten that we can just throw around.
Yeah.
But I think that should be, and I know that, it will be, assimilated to the community that way, but I think people need to know that, we have a responsibility to spend this money correctly, and we will.
Yes. And it's a one-time money, so you don't tie it to personnel unless it's a one-time personnel expenditure. So this money will go, a majority of it will go directly to things that impact kids. And we're talking with principals about what the plans are tomorrow, and we'll update you on that after we talk to principals about that money. We're having a planning meeting tomorrow with principals on what we want to do for summer school and what will school look like when we come back. And here's what I need from you all. Some of you all have said that people don't get our communications. We're going to send out a survey because I don't want to dictate what school looks like when we come back. If it has to be written, I don't know, just what is the best way we can get feedback from parents, because the last couple of surveys we've sent out, we may have gotten 10, 20, 30 responses, and this is going to impact all of our kids and all of our parents. And we need, so we can plan, as much feedback from parents as we can get. So Ms. Goff is here. Any suggestions you have other than email and putting it on Facebook and all of the other social media and the website? We need feedback from parents. I don't know of any other way to reach them unless you all have some ideas, because it's going to be important.
Just a regular mail, and I know it's going to be costly.
Okay.
And to me, that's the best way. And
Okay.
a stamp to return it.
I think you say, if we can give them an envelope back.
I'm sorry, Miss. I didn't finish hearing you out, Miss McCormick. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just said regular mail with a return envelope and stamp.
Okay.
I think, and I know it would be a little costly, but can you use that CARES money, some of that for that? I don't know.
We need to, the CARES money hasn't come in yet, and we kind of need to go ahead and start planning.
Yeah, I mean, the district should be able to do that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
my opinion. That's all it is.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Any other board members have any other feedback on how we can make sure we reach everybody?
I think.
I'm in agreement with Ms. McCormick. I think if you leave it at no cost to the individual and things like that, I think that they will respond back and a return. Go ahead and give them a return address letter as well as a stamp.
Make it just as easy as possible.
Right.
But but then we could still let everybody know as far as we can through any kind of media possible, newspaper. And I realize we don't have a radio station. You can do, obviously the social media. Just say, you will be getting something in the mail, and maybe somebody or other people will pay more attention to that.
Okay.
But I think the best way is just an individual letter.
Okay. Well, if you all will just kind of start letting folks that you communicate know that this is coming, and it'll be about a 10-question survey asking them, what type of schedule will work best for them, because there are 4 or 5 different options on how we can come back, and we just need feedback so we can plan based off of parents' needs. I know for some people, there's no perfect schedule. Somebody's going to be inconvenienced no matter what we do. So we just want to try and provide the best service we can to as many folks as we can. And that's why we need input on this. So it's going to be very, very important when we send it out.
Okay.
The next thing is our teachers did what we call student gap plans. So on every kid, so we know where their weaknesses are. All of those have been posted, and that's going to help us remediate kids for summer school and going into next year, because one of the things that we've talked about is starting off the year. If you're a 4th grader, we're going to go back and repeat those 3rd grade skills that are crucial for about the first month of the school year, because in essence, kids are having 2 summer slides because they were out the last few months of school, and then you factor in summer. So we want to try and go back and reach as many as we can, because our kids are losing out, even though we are doing our digital and distance learning thing. It's nothing like being in front of a teacher and getting what you need. So we're working on that. Miss Ratcliffe met with our registrars. We have a registration plan together. We're gonna start working on getting that information out to everybody. I sent you the district survey results from parents, kids, and some teachers. And then Dr. Dace, I forwarded you the one that she does on the strategic plan. I emailed you that one this afternoon.
Oh.
And then that leads me to the strategic plan. This is the 3rd year of our current strategic plan. I want to put together a document for us to maybe have a work session on and determine if we want to keep on down this path that we're going with the current strategic plan, or is it time to review it and set some new direction. So that's going to take a few weeks for me to get to you, but it'll be a thorough document giving you information over the last 3 years about the progress that we've made on that strategic plan. And then we can make a decision as a board, because that is your responsibility to help set the direction of the district. And we can make a determination after you look at everything and say, hey, these are good, let's continue doing this, or let's do something different. Dr. Dace and the nurses met with the dentist. They have a meeting with principals on Wednesday at 9 a.m. to give them the proposal from the local dentist on how they can service our kids. So possibly on June 29th, we'll be bringing you a recommendation to work with our local dentist. I went by the handicap access at the baseball field, and what I communicated and what the coaches and Joseph worked out did not mesh. And now Mr. Skidmore went by there as well, and I'm not happy with what's out there. There's a gap in where they stopped the concrete to get to the asphalt. And the way it was explained to me, they all met and said, well, we've got this one person, they can pull in and drop them off. Well, that's not meeting ADA standards. It has to go all the way to the asphalt. So I'm going to get them to get us a quote to take both sides of that sidewalk all the way to the asphalt so it meets ADA requirements for all handicapped individuals who come to our softball games, not just one. And I'll be getting back with you on that as well. The principal search, we had our first round of interviews. We got a few more, probably 2 or at least 3 more candidates we're going to look at, get the committee back together and interview a couple more. The ROTC search, Dr. Dace and Dr. Truman looked over some applicants and are reaching out to schedule interviews with those applicants. And I think that is all I have, unless somebody has a question about any of those or needs me to repeat them.
Well, I have a comment. I thought the principal thing was closed because somebody called me last Monday, a week ago, and I said, well, it's closed according to my schedule. So it's not.
No, ma'am.
I know it was a small window, but.
Yeah, we decided to keep it open. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I didn't know that. I told them it was closed, so
Yeah, we decided to keep it open. Yeah, we decided to keep it open without getting
So
into. Yes, ma'am. We're gonna leave it open and interview a couple more candidates. She froze? Yeah. I think she's froze.
How is it? I mean, I saw that it's listed on our personnel page, but it didn't
Yes,
really
ma'am.
have a deadline on it, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I just know you had sent us, the board members, the schedule of everything. And my schedule said it was closed about a week ago, I guess, or so.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. But we decided to keep it open. That was not etched in stone, but if we didn't find the right person, we kept it open. And if we don't find the right person in these next rounds, we'll keep it open until we find the right person.
Okay. So would that be somewhere where it's, and I'm gonna let this person know that it's still open, if that's okay.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't know. I wouldn't have told them.
Yeah,
Do you have
Closed, 'cause what I looked at.
Please do. Yes, ma'am.
Have you set another closing date?
No, we're just gonna keep it open. And in the advertisements that I sent to the Mississippi Association of School Administrators, to the school superintendent's website, it's gonna stay open, and the one we sent to MD, it'll stay open until we fill it.
Okay. Last thing that will be done on the GRTC person, and I will bring this back to board members, I guess. And I had talked to Dr. Holloway about this. If we don't find someone, I don't know how we can keep this program open in fairness to the kids. But he says he think we probably gonna find somebody. But in the event we don't, that's something we'll have to think about.
Yeah, we're gonna search high and low. I'm trying to get, I used to have his number, but the gentleman who's over the Army ROTC for the state, he's helped me before. I just don't have his number, but I've called a few people trying to get it. So we're gonna search high and low.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. Anybody else have anything for Dr. Holloway?
Did we attend the meeting with the supervisors in JCJC?
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Savage went, I think that was a couple of weeks ago, but yes, Dr. Savage went. Yes, ma'am.
Did they make any decisions?
So that meeting about.
It was a, from what I understand from him, it was a, I don't know, it's a different meeting. Let me get him to send me a summary of what was discussed. Ms. Waltman, and I'll forward that to you all. He has some details about it. And I don't want to misquote or missay anything. So let me get him to send me exactly what was discussed in that meeting.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. If not, we are down to information. We have none at this time. Ian determined the need for executive session, discussion of litigation. And I think we do, right, Mr. Compton, we do need to go in.
That's correct. I have a couple of matters dealing with litigation we need to discuss.
I make,
Okay, can I get a motion by Ms. Waltman that we determine the need for examination?
go ahead,
Second.
to determine the need for executive.
Second,
Dr.
Motion.
Jefferson, second.
okay, motion by Ms. Waltman, second by Dr. Jefferson. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, Dr. Holloway, y'all take it from there and we'll wait till you
Yeah, when
tell us
Matt
what
gives
else to
us,
do.
yeah, when Matt gives us the signal, I'll let you know.